Are you a former Australian permanent resident who's been living overseas for years, wondering if you can ever return and settle in Australia again? Let's break down how the Subclass 155 Resident Return Visa (RRV) could be your pathway home. If you were ever granted Australian permanent residency, even if it was years ago and your status wasn't officially cancelled, you may still qualify for the Subclass 155 RRV. The key is whether your permanent residency simply lapsed due to time overseas or was formally cancelled. If it just expired, you're likely still considered a former permanent resident for visa purposes. Most applicants get the 5-year travel facility by having spent at least 2 of the last 5 years physically in Australia as a permanent resident. But what if you've been away much longer? The plan B is you can still apply if you can show substantial ties of benefit to Australia, even if you haven't met the 2-year rule. The department looks at 4 main categories. Firstly, personal ties, deep connections like having an Australian citizen partner or children, long-term residents in Australia in the past, or close family members who are citizens or permanent residents. Secondly is employment ties, current employment or a job offer in Australia or even working overseas for an Australian company, university or government department. Thirdly is business ties, active involvement in an Australian business like managing a company, generating income or creating jobs for Australians. Passive ownership alone isn't enough. You need to show ongoing, active economic contribution. Lastly is cultural ties, professional involvement in Australian arts, sports, religious or intellectual activities such as performing, publishing or organizing events in Australia. If your absence from Australia is more than 5 continuous years, you must also show compelling reasons for being away so long. One of the examples of compelling reasons is serious illness or death of a family member overseas, significant work or study commitments, being in a genuine relationship with an Australian citizen, major legal issues, or being caught up in events like natural disasters or wars. The department usually focuses on the period beyond the 5-year mark, not every single day you were away. If you made short trips back on temporary visas, these can reset the clock and reduce the period for which you need to provide compelling reasons. Only the total time spent outside Australia matters. The Subclass 157 RRV is a fallback, granting just 3 months of travel and requiring even stricter, compelling, and compassionate reasons for your absence. If you qualify for both, the department usually grants the more advantageous Subclass 155 RRV. So, even if you've been away for a decade, it's not always too late. If you have strong ties to Australia and a compelling reason for your absence, the Subclass 155 RRV could help you come home for good. Contact us for private consultation. Global Migration Solutions, we will take you there.